Hello everyone, welcome to the Slop channel again. Today we're bringing you more slop. Okay, this is way too loud. Can't fucking hear myself. Okay. On the last slop tier list, someone mentioned my audio being worse than before, and it's because I have my microphone just sitting in the corner of my desk rather than in front of me. And so I'm not going to change anything about that, and it's going to stay there. Anyway, I've always kind of wanted to do this, like a starbreeze fuck up tier list, but I was always too lazy to actually catalog them. So thank you, Leif, for doing it. And but I did add a couple of my own here to the bottom. So let's look at the tiers we have here. We have peak starbreeze. This is, it's the starbreeze moments that define starbreeze. Cringe, just kind of cringe stuff that they screwed up. Meh, I don't really, it's whatever. Kinda based, low-key kinda based. And then not really a starbreeze moment, TBH. Which I think we can start with rated by police. I think this only happened to one person. It wasn't like a starbreeze raid. I think it was some like CEO or something. I don't think that can really be called a starbreeze moment, so it's kind of whatever. Star VR was a VR system that they developed for like millions of dollars, and you can still buy it, I think, but it's so expensive that like no average consumer would ever get it. So the idea that it would fucking work was stupid. They fucked it up. Kind of dumb. Mio Twitter. So Mio, ex-game director for Payday 3, had like just furry porn and whatever on his Twitter account, and then he would reply to people whenever they like complained about a change he made and be like, yeah, I'm gonna spam you with furry porn, which is maybe not the best way for a game director to act. And then there was that whole thing of his like significant other attacking Red Archer live, and then that broke into a whole fucking disaster. Again, it's difficult to call it a starbreeze moment because it was just one guy. But considering that he was like the face of Payday 3 at the time, I think I kind of have to consider it as a starbreeze moment. And I'm going to put him into cringe. Winds of Change is the update that I think announced that they're going to make DLC again. Okay, now this feels too quiet. Is the update that they announced that they're going to make DLC again after finishing the game with White House, and then they were like, okay, well, we're going to make DLC again. And they also, I think, announced that they're not going to support consoles anymore during this. Which I think also has a thing. I looked through these a couple days ago. I think that it's one of the entries here. Anyway, Winds of Change. I think it's kind of meh. They were out of money. They fucking screwed everything up like usual. They needed to fund Payday 3. I don't think they really had a choice. So it kind of happened. Whatever. It's fine. Valhalla Game Engine and Overkill's The Walking Dead. So Valhalla Game Engine was an engine that they decided to make. And I don't know if any games other than Overkill's The Walking Dead use it. So that was a huge disaster. And yeah, this is another one of those Star VR things where they like invested a bunch of money and then it failed. And why did they want to make their own game engine? I don't even know what the motivation was. It's stupid and completely brainless. I think that's good to call that cringe. Overkill's The Walking Dead. I never played it, but it's okay because no one else ever played it either. My understanding is that it just sucked. And it's like a valuable franchise, so that they could screw it up is fascinating. Honestly, although personally I don't know how popular the Walking Dead series is. I just hear about it. But does anyone care anymore? I think they just made this game too late, and on an engine that no one used and cost them a ton of money. So the game like sucked, and none of the programmers knew what they were doing because they did this. It's a big cringe moment, but I think there are many worse things that Starbreeze did. Dead game meme, kind of based, because at the time this was for Payday 2. We're not talking Payday 3, which has like 15 players daily. We're talking Payday 2, which had like 20,000 players daily, and then everyone was just saying dead game. It obviously wasn't. And Starbreeze went and they made like a shirt out of it. Kind of based, low-key. Now here, I think we have our first peak Starbreeze, Maskmania. This was an event. I think this is the first Payday 3 event. They had four or five masks, and the idea was everyone playing the game would contribute money, like they stole in-game, toward one of the masks, and they would pick the masks, whatever they choose, and then they would like increase it, kind of like the Steam, fucking whatever the Steam thing is, where they have a race and you pick your team, and then I don't really know what happens when your team wins or loses. I never really bother, but it pops up on my news, or at least it did. I can't really remember the last time I saw it. Anyway, what happened with this was they set all of the prices way too high, and they gave like a week or something for everyone to do it, and the idea was whatever hits the money mark first will be released first, and then we're gonna release them in order. But only one of the masks was made. The other, I think one of them was like somewhat close, and the other two weren't even close. And it's because they vastly overestimated how many people gave a shit. They set up like some system where you could only earn points on like one map for one of the masks or something like that. So basically, if you wanted to contribute, you had to play like a shit version of the game, which is funny to say about Payday 3. Anyway, this is fucked up. So they vastly overestimated how much they would get. And then after this completed, I think they did end up adding the mask in that won, but the other three, which they said that they would add in over time, haven't been added yet. And it's been months. I think this was like more than a year ago now or something. So this is, I mean, that's fucking peak Starbreeze, man. They nailed it. Oh, we're moving on to gold. Payday 3 Day 1 patch. Payday 3 fucking sucked on release, everyone knows this. And as most games that come out, they have like oh, okay, we're gonna release a quick patch to fix major issues that people are running into, or like small problems. I don't remember how long Payday 3's quote-unquote Day 1 patch took. I think it was like 2 months. So the game was just unplayable because of just various issues, and everything was bugged and broken. It's beautiful. What can I... Oh, this is tough. Because I think there was a lot of issues that they had. I don't think I can call it peak Starbreeze, but this was beautiful. Why is everything so loud? Maybe I need to sound mixer it down. Oh, good. It's already really low. Anyway, the servers won't go down. There's nothing else you can say. This is peak Starbreeze. I get the idea that, so this is a quote that Almir said live on stream when people questioned about Payday 3 being online only, of like, what if the servers go down? And his reply was, they won't. Yeah, the servers won't go down. And then what happened? Day one of the public release, without any of the pre-orders, servers are down. Game is unplayable for I think a week or something. It's so amazing. And then even after they fixed it, the servers still kept going down. And the whole thing that everyone's pointing out is that during one of the betas, the open beta, which they allowed everyone to join and be like, oh, break our servers, the servers were broken. And people expected, like, oh, okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to improve the official game when it comes out so that this doesn't happen. And it happened anyway. And it's because they went stupid mode, and only like 8,000 people played the open beta, and 8,000 people crashed the servers. On release day, it was something like 80,000. And that was just on Steam. And the game is cross-platform. So you had Xbox, fucking PlayStation, Steam, and also Game Pass for, I guess, PC gamers without Steam. And then I think the reported number was like 1.2 million people played it day one. I don't believe that. Maybe I'm also just making that up. But the servers went down and the game was unplayable, and then fucking mass downvotes on the Steam review page, people refunding the game left and right. It was beautiful. It's poetic. It was amazing. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Damage range modifiers. Oh dear God. Damage range modifiers was an update in which they released a beta, and I actually have it down here. I'll rate this now. When Denka took over the game development for Payday 2, they announced something like, we're gonna have a lot of it's fucked up and cut off. I screwed it up. But they announced that, like, we're gonna have so many betas now because we want to get your feedback. And they released one beta. Everyone hated it. And then everyone gave the feedback. All of these changes fucking suck. Do not add anything of this in. And then damage range modifiers happened, which meant they ignored all of the feedback, and then they never did a beta again. It's so beautiful. Oh, I love Starbreeze so much. Above that, even more, in the feedback forms for the beta, they had questions of like, oh, what's your issue? What's happening? What do you think went well? What do you think went poorly? And one of the things was like, what level are you in game? Which is genuinely fucking meaningless. Why did they have that? Who knows? But above that, they didn't even let it go above 100 infamy. They didn't think anyone was over 100 infamy, which they were. Tons of people were over 100 infamy. They fucked it up so bad. The whole beta thing, I think, is peak Starbreeze. They threw an idea in, it went horribly wrong, and then they just went, nope, we're not going to do that again, and then they learned nothing. It was amazing. But damage range modifiers themselves are extremely cringe. I don't think it's a peak Starbreeze moment, even though everyone told them, don't do this. It's brain dead. They still did it. The problem is, damage range modifiers do nothing. I did a whole video investigating this. The results were literally, damage range multipliers do nothing. Statistically, they do nothing. They impact nothing in the game, except experience. Like, the game just sucks to play more. How did they... It's stupid. And then everyone told them not to do it, and they did it anyway. It was amazing. And along the same line, ammo funnel replenish feedback. But this one, I think, is even better, because they ask their partners. Is the partner program on here? No, whatever, it's fine. They asked the Starbreeze partners. The Starbreeze partner program was created so that the Starbreeze could communicate with content creators, and that they would get feedback from the content creators, and then they would preview content early so that the content creators could make videos. But the system was genuinely useless. Aside from the one time where all of the people gave out a bunch of codes, the system did nothing. And it became apparently clear Like, even more than before, because it did nothing in Payday 2 aside from give out, like, some shit in here and there. But for Ammo Funnel, specifically, at least I'm taking this from, I think, Noli's video, where he mentioned that they asked partners what they thought of the Ammo Funnel replenish feedback, and everyone said, "This sucks, do not add it in, it makes the game less fun." And my understanding is this was like the one fun combo in the game, and then the starbreeze just went and they removed it anyway. It's so beautiful. I think this is worse. This is peak Starbreeze because they made a program specifically to get feedback from people they trusted, from people they partnered with. They made the program. They asked the people. They got the feedback, and then they did not listen. Oh, it's so. I love it. It's perfect. Why does the studio exist? On the table. On the table became a catchphrase for everything people asked for, where it's like, hey, is this going to get added into the game? And then Starbreeze was just like, it's on the table. It's kind of meh. I don't really care. It's just a phrase they used a lot. Completely overkill pack. I believe this combos with Crime Fest 2015. Starbreeze, at the time Overkill, said, we're never gonna do... Oh, look, there it is. Microtransactions. No microtransactions in Payday 2. Actually, I guess maybe these are separate things then. Maybe Cop was later. I don't remember. Let's do this one first anyway. They said, no microtransactions in Payday 2. And there weren't. Until Crime Fest 2015, in which they added skins. Specifically skin safes. And for these, you had to buy the drill. And people fucking hated it. Admittedly, I think it's cringe. I don't think it's peak Starbreeze. I imagine someone tried to milk the money out of them real quick. They fucked it up. And then they made all the safes free afterwards. And then later on, even further back, they turned all the drills into safes. And then you could open everything for free except for the completely overkill safe. But that's a different story. Anyway, I think it's really cringe. Although, this is still the biggest, like, dislike on the Steam page for Payday 2. It was massively, massively hated. And a lot of people were, one, mad that they went back on their promise. But, two, they saw it as pay to win, because skins came with like special attachments and boosts. Realistically speaking, I don't think that really matters. The bigger issue is that they went back on their promise. Overall, I think it's kind of cringe. It's not peak Starbreeze. Completely Overkill pack, though, it's maybe peak Starbreeze. I think it is peak Starbreeze. So Completely Overkill pack is like a super exclusive DLC that they had, which they only sold 50,000 of. And in this pack were 4 masks. That was it. 4 masks and the safe, which you could get a skin from. But the more I think about it, I think it's kind of cringe as well. It was really hated because I think it was $20 or $25, and you pay for that and you get 4 masks and you get a safe and you open it and it's a shit skin, and everyone was mad and it was terrible. Above that, also, you were only supposed to have 50,000 copies, but the website was broken, and even after 50,000 passed, more kept being sold. So that was bad. And then more people had it than it was supposed to be. It's an exclusive DLC. You could only buy it there, and now it's like scalped to $700 fucking dollars or whatever. And everyone hated on it because it had no value, and then they added more masks into it. I don't remember how many masks are in it now. But the point is, it just had Mega Dallas, Wolf, Chains, and Hoxton? Houston? One of those two. Probably Houston. Everyone hated it. It kind of combos with the whole safes thing. It was bad. 240.3. Now, I quit the game long before this happened, so I don't have like personal experience, and I hear a lot of stuff about the update. But one thing I do know for certain is that this update introduced tons of crashes and bugs that didn't exist. And the whole purpose of the update was bug fixes, and they created more broken shit than bug fixes. And yeah, it's genuinely, like, some people consider it the worst update of Payday 2. I don't, because I didn't play it. My opinion doesn't really fucking matter. I think I can only say it's kind of cringe because I have an idea in mind similar to this that is worse, that goes into weak starbreeze, which is Update 237. Update 237 is the Epic Games merge. And the reason that this is peak starbreeze in my head is they released a unplayable update to the game. And the whole thing was that, like, CrimeNet was unusable. Above that, there was, like, crashes, a lot of stuff, like, side jobs reset. It was a disaster. And the only reason they did it was to merge with Epic Games so that they could get a fucking paycheck. This was the reason I quit the game, and, like, Uncle quit the game, and a bunch of other people fucking quit the game. No one wanted to play this piece of shit Payday 2 after this garbage. See, I could understand something like Update 240.3, where the devs were just like, oh, we're gonna fix some bugs, we're gonna update the game. They updated the game, they fucking broke everything, it all sucked because they didn't test anything and they have no idea what they're doing. Whatever. But then if you take that, and then you do it on purpose, for money, now that is why I quit. I fucking hate these developers now, and I wish them only the worst. It was after this update that I gave up, and at this point I just recommend everyone pirate all their stuff because Starbreeze does not deserve your money. After they did that, they don't deserve anything from anyone. Quit the game. It's terrible. Razzle Dazzle developers, I don't remember when this was said, but I think they said this when they released some broken update, like usual. I don't want to fill up the cringe with just more stuff that's kind of like whatever. I think it's kind of whatever. The children's charity Payday 3 stream is hilarious, but it's not really a Payday, not really a Starbreeze moment. This was a charity stream that was planned months in advance before Payday 3 released. And there was this one streamer, and they were going to do a charity. Oh, Payday 3 is coming out. It's a huge game, sequel to a massive game as well. And it's great, and everyone loves the betas. We're going to raise money. Charity happens day Payday 3 is released. And, unsurprisingly, the game is unplayable. The streamer can't play the game, but they're streaming. And then it's like it's Overkill sponsored or something like that. Or it's not really Overkill sponsored, but it was like pinned on the community page. And it's miserable because this poor streamer, I don't remember who, they're trying to do good, and the game failing fucked it up for them. It fucked it up for the charity, and even worse, people kept flocking to the stream thinking that it was like a Starbreeze dev stream or something, and they were just complaining. It's like, why is the game not working? What's happening? What are you doing? And I feel so bad for whoever streamed this. I don't remember. It was a massive disaster, but it's only like tangentially related to Starbreeze. I'm not gonna call that a Starbreeze moment. Dropping console support, which I think came with the Winds of Change update, but maybe that's not true. The point is here that Starbreeze said, we're not going to support consoles anymore because they didn't really give a fuck. Consoles, I guess, just weren't making any money. They couldn't be fucked with it. Honestly, kind of based. Because consoles are shit. And now, especially because they were already running a different version of the game. They were running with like more armor and shit like that. So it's not like the game was matched anyway. And like the updates that came past, I'm pretty sure would have exploded consoles because they were hardly functional on PC. Starbreeze needed money; they had no choice, so they had to keep updating Payday 2 to with DLCs. And I guess consoles weren't going to make any money, kind of based. And also, I don't like consoles, to be honest. So that's why I'm scooting it that way. Raid World War II is another game the Starbreeze made, like Overkill's The Walking Dead. And I'm having trouble placing it. The point is, people tried the game and they hated it on release. I don't know why. I didn't really care. It doesn't interest me. I did end up playing the game later because Stalin gifted it to me. I played like maybe 2 hours. It was fine, but it was really just a worse version of Payday 2. At least, I guess that's kind of how I looked at it from when I played it. I don't know what was wrong with it on release. And I do know that now, even though the game is like abandoned by the developers, it's being kept alive by some modders, which is low-key kind of based. But the issue is, that's not kind of how it launched, that's just how it is now. But I think it's only fair to put it in kind of based, because you have modders keeping the game alive, and unlike in Payday 2, where it's like metaphorically the modders keeping the game alive by making mods that fix game-breaking bugs that Starbreeze didn't give a fuck to fix, this one, it's literally being developed by modders. Your opinion, my choice is a legendary quote from the early ages of the game, where it was, I think, a dev stream, or maybe something like a forum post, something like that. People hated the enemy flashes because you could do nothing about them. They were unbreakable at the time, and everyone complained, whatever. And then I don't remember who, but someone hit him with, "Your opinion, my choice." And that is a legendary line. There is nowhere else to put it but peak Starbreeze. Because this, honestly, kind of answers the rest of these. Like, they had betas, your opinion, my choice. We're not going to fucking do those anymore. We're not going to listen to anything you said. Animal funnel replenish, your opinion, my choice. We're not going to fucking do anything about it. This is peak Starbreeze. Payday 3 Collector's Edition release regions. I don't know what regions it released. I think it was just like Europe or something. And then for consoles in the US or something like that. I'm just going to talk about it as, I don't think there's anything else Collector's Edition related, so I'm just going to talk about Collector's Edition. This was bad because one issue they had was that everyone selling it just ran out of stock, and then there was like nothing more to do about it. And then it wasn't like ran out of stock, oh sorry, you can't buy it anymore. People like paid for it, and then they waited weeks and weeks for it to ship from them, like from Amazon, and then Amazon said like, actually we don't have any and they're not sending us anymore, so we're just going to refund you. And people waited weeks for nothing, and they ended up getting nothing. And I think it's really funny that they fucked it up like that again, because they had the Kawaii Dozer, which was also a physical product that they fucked up, and they learned nothing from it, which is funny. But really, I think I can only call it kind of cringe. Lessons learned from Payday 3. I don't know what this is referencing. I can kind of guess, and to be honest, I imagine it's supposed to be lessons learned from Payday 2. But clearly they didn't learn anything from Payday 2. I don't really even know what this is referencing, so it's kind of meh, whatever. Bankruptcy. Oh boy. I guess the question is which one? Overkill was running out of money, and they had to be saved by Starbreeze, which is why now it's called Starbreeze. They were bought out. And then Starbreeze came close to bankruptcy, and they had to be like helped. And this has happened multiple times. This studio it just can't function. They're genuinely worthless as a game studio. They can't make anything. It's peak Starbreeze. How they exist still? in 2025 is amazing. They should have been gone 10 years ago. Trifecta DLC. Okay. This was, I think what this was is one of the pre-orders, or I guess all of the pre-orders, the gold, silver, and I don't think it was called bronze, but whatever. Those came with like special items for pre-ordering, and one of them was this like trifecta outfit, I think. Like a month after the game released, they released this trifecta DLC as a separate DLC, and this infuriated people who bought. To be honest, I don't think anyone bought the game early just for this DLC, so they were kind of annoyed at the exclusivity of it kind of going away. I think it was fucking cringe to do that in the beginning, but whatever. I think it's difficult, honestly, to call it a starbreeze moment, because this, I think, was forced on them by Sony. Sony had some rule, or maybe it was Microsoft, where they had to have no, like, special pre-order things that you could, like, never get again, which I think is good. But the release of this DLC, like, they didn't announce anything about it. They didn't, like, say that here's what's going to happen to these pre-order items that you think are exclusive. So they fucked it up. They should have communicated better, but I don't think it's really their fault. Having licensed content. This one is complicated because in itself kind of based. But they lost access to fucking everything. They can't afford to keep the licenses going. So now it's like Scarface, John Wick, Point Break, maybe something else. All of those are just inaccessible. Like, new players can't have them anymore. I mean, they fucked it up. There's no better way to say it. They fucked it up. And, yeah. I don't think I can call it peak Starbreeze because it's like, it's not their choice. They ran out of money. They can't do anything. And at the time, it was cool. So now it's just kind of cringe. And the Payday 3 usage of AI, also kind of cringe. The art under the surface, the paintings there, I think, were made with AI. And that's just kind of cringe. I think it was like someone found on one of the art pages of one of the people who made art for the game that they're like, yeah, we used AI for this. And it's like, so embarrassing. Just the idea of AI art in general is bad. I fucking hate all AI, and I wish people would stop fucking shoving it in everywhere. And I think it's good to support artists. AI art is spitting in the face of everyone who makes anything creative. It's gross. Crime Wave. I'm not 100% sure what this is. I know Crime Wave Edition is just the console, like the console Ultimate Edition. Let me look this up real quick. Let's see. Payday Crime Wave. Yeah, immediately Crime Wave Edition pops up. I don't really know what this is, other than just like a DLC pack for consoles, which is whatever. I don't care. Bo Anderson is the only person here by name, other than Mio, I guess. Bo Anderson is like the source of many of Starbreeze's disasters, so I think it's only fair to put him in peak Starbreeze. He was the one in charge of Star VR. He was the one that in charge of Valhalla Game Engine. I don't think he was actually like a game designer or anything. But yeah, he's to blame for many of the problems for Starbreeze, and I think that's sort of like the thesis of that one big Sherry Shaw video that I didn't finish was. It's like 3 hours, and I think that's the conclusion, that like Bo Anderson fucked it all up. Yeah, peak Starbreeze. No more paid DLC. I mean, the this kind of pairs with Winds of Change, where they went, whoops, we're gonna do DLC now. I think it's kind of whatever. Uh, Low key kind of based. Low key, high key. I think it's kind of based. Them announcing, like, the cringe part is that they went back on it. It's kind of based that they announced no more paid DLC because they're gonna add free content for everyone. I mean, can you really complain? You know, free content. Notoriety cease and desist. This is either cringe or peak Starbreeze. Notoriety was, and now is, because they're back. I don't know if it's under a different name or anything. But it was like a Payday Roblox game. And Starbreeze was aware of this game existing for years, and they did nothing about it. They were fine with it. But right before the release of Payday 3, they sent a cease and desist and took down the fucking game. And I think, obviously I don't know any of the reasoning, I think it's because they genuinely thought that this Roblox game would impact their sales. It's so fucking embarrassing. I think it's beyond cringe. I'm having difficulty justifying it in peak Starbreeze. I think I'm just gonna put it in cringe. It was really, really cringe because they suddenly just took down this game that was like a free Roblox clone of Payday, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of shit, but like, who's playing Roblox ripoffs of other games? You know, it's certainly not someone who is going to go and spend $50 on Payday 3 the day it comes out. So it's not like you're losing any users. It's just, it was a stupid fucking decision, and then now it's back up because I guess they're okay with it now. Whatever. Fun fact, I actually tried to reach out to the Notoriety creator when I was making my Payday 3 video, because the whole first section was talking about the disaster leading up to the release of the game. I tried to reach out, fucking couldn't. They had all messages blocked on everything. So yeah. Vague racism. I don't really know what this is referring to, other than maybe Chains being the name of the black guy, and or maybe it's just like they're Swedish and Swedish people don't like immigrants. I don't know. I don't really know what this is referring to. I'm not super aware of anything like super notable. Obviously, racism isn't great, but I don't know what this is referring to aside from like Chains being Chains, and I think that's kind of whatever. Payday 3 CEO fired. Kind of based, because the CEO was, I guess, in charge of a lot of these decisions, and it was losing so much money that he was kicked out and replaced with someone else, which is good. Get him out of here. He doesn't know what he's fucking doing. "We need you now" is another quote. It's weird how some of these are in quotes and then some of them aren't. "We need you now" is another quote from Almir on one of the streams after Payday 3 was fucked for a long time. He said something like, if you want Payday 3 to last, if you want like us to make more content, we need you now. We need you to support the game and to buy it. Of course, the issue is the game fucking sucked and was broken. So it was a very bad thing to say, but I sympathize with Almir because he has to do everything live on stream in front of everyone. And I know the Payday community, okay? The average age is 14 and a half. So having to deal with a bunch of 8th graders as your job in regards to video games, not like as a teacher, although that's probably also miserable. I feel bad for Almir. I think he just wanted to, you know, I get where he's coming from. I think he phrased it poorly. I think he was under pressure. It's fine. It's okay. It's a little bit cringe. I don't think it deserves to go up with these fuck ups. Payday 3 fashion collab. I don't know what this is referring to. But yeah, you know what? I don't know what this is about. I was gonna maybe look at Linchpin, which was removed because the creator of Linchpin was not great. And there was also that one time that I think it was one of the Taylor packs for the City of Gold. One of the designs for the outfits was very eerily similar to like a real clothing brand, and a lot of people were supposing that it was stolen. And I did talk to some people, including some starbreeze moderators, and it was worked out in private, so it's whatever. So I'm not going to mention it. Whatever. I don't really know what that's about. Payday 3 apology items is peak starbreeze. So Payday 3, I don't know exactly what the apology items were for. I don't remember. But there was something... Oh, actually, I know what this is for. It's because the gold edition promised like a year of DLC, and then they released one DLC on time, and then the rest of them they didn't fucking release on time at all. And they wanted to release these apology items. But the apology items just took so long to come, and when they did, they were broken for a lot of people, and they just didn't get it. I mean, fucking up an apology after fucking something up is just what I don't know what else to call it but peak starbreeze. It's amazing. 15% layoffs is a relatively recent thing, but I don't think that's really a starbreeze moment. I think they're running out of money and starbreeze is on their last legs. So cutting 15% of the workforce, they're sort of out of options. It's whatever. Always problems with Payday 2 development. Yeah, I mean, peak starbreeze. It's all a disaster. Everything's bad. They can't do anything right. They don't test anything. Nothing works at all. It's peak starbreeze. Operation Medic Bag. Oof, this is difficult. Operation Medic Bag had its highs and lows. The whole thing was that Payday 3 sucked. We're going to fix it by focusing on the issues you want fixed. We're going to release a newsletter every week about what we're working on and what's happening. And I think that was a good idea. But, first off, they ran out of stuff to talk about very fast. I think like the second even, or maybe it was the third, Operation Medic Bag post was an interview with Gustavo, who does the music for Payday 3. And that's great, but this is supposedly Operation Medic Bag, a mission to save Payday 3. And they're just doing an interview with the game director, or the music director, instead of talking about anything important at all. That was one issue. And then another issue was that it takes much longer to implement the changes than to just talk about them. I think you can really only call it cringe. Operation Medic Bag, I mean, it helped the game. They had a roadmap of shit, and I think they did some of those. Is the game fixed? No, it's still bad, and I think it's going to be until a couple months from now when it gets shut down. Significantly lower investment. Fucking gold. Starbreeze announced that they were investing significantly less resources into Payday 3. I don't know if it was a blog post. I think it was some kind of company meeting. Anyway, this came out, and people lost it. Because the only way to fix Payday 3 would be to invest more into it. But because Payday 3 was so bad, and no one was profiting from it, the higher ups decided we're just gonna fucking drop it, and we're gonna significantly lower investment. I think it's the correct move on their play from the perspective of a business, but from the perspective of game developers who are supposedly passionate about their product, and from the perspective of people playing the game, this is so fucking bad. It's such a bad look. And this is on top of the fact that they already split up the Payday 3 development into Project Baxter, which is like my understanding is, it's a Dungeons and Dragons-esque game thing, which when it comes out, no one is gonna fucking play because it's competing with like Baldur's Gate and The Witcher, and also the moment has passed. I think they generally just try to push this out to profit off of Baldur's Gate's success. Sorry guys, you're late. No one is gonna want to play this. It's gonna be bad. I hope the Starbreeze goes bankrupt already for the fucking 7th time. Engine limitations is peak Starbreeze. This was, I think it came with Epic Games, that one update, where they said, we're not going to support Linux anymore because of engine limitations. And on that day as well, actually, I don't think it's peak Starbreeze. It's just kind of super mega cringe. I don't know if I can call it peak Starbreeze. Engine limitations, basically, they're not going to update Linux systems anymore. And the answer why is easy. It took effort compared to Windows, and the player base was not large enough to make it worth it. Which would be similar to dropping console support and 15% layoffs, except for the fact that it was just a straight up lie. There were no engine limitations. If they just went out and said, it's not profitable and we don't have the money, then it would have been fine. But they said, engine limitations, we can't update the game anymore. Really? No, you can. You're lazy. You don't give a fuck. You want the money. This company is so embarrassing. Jacket melee weapon is for Payday 3, and I think it's just kind of cringe. The whole thing is that they're adding this character pack for Jacket, which, first off, already shows how desperate they are, because Jacket is a fan favorite of 14-year-olds, because no adult ever played Jacket. It's just a very mediocre character in Payday 2. And they're adding him to Payday 3 because they want all the little kiddies to come in and play the game and love it. Now, the reason people don't like this melee weapon is because if you don't have the DLC, you can't use it. Which, I mean, that's kind of how all DLC work. But the thing is that it's going to be like an overkill weapon, which supposedly you should be able to drop for other people, like the sniper rifle and the piglet that they had in Payday 3 as well. I don't know if they ever added any more overkill weapons. Oh, there was the minigun. Did that ever get added either? I don't know. Anyway, people are mad about this. I think it's just cringe because they're doing Jacket for the sake of getting everyone back instead of repairing the game. Which is why I've said in a couple places already that I can't wait for the day Jacket releases and for people to love him for 3 days and talk about how we're so back and how the game is good again. And then after 3 days, they're going to realize the game still sucks and nothing has changed, and they're going to go right back down to the bottom. I think it's even more embarrassing because I check the Payday subreddit every now and then. And after Jacket was announced, there were so many posts. There was this one that was so bad that I even posted it to my Discord server that was like, to everyone who said the game was not worth their money, are you going to buy it now that Jacket's in the game? And I think I posted it into my Discord server with like the line of like, how do you post this? This is genuinely embarrassing, and that's why I think it goes into cringe. The whole everything surrounding it is cringe. Veteran Strike Team, I think it's kind of meh. It was part of Operation Medic Bag, where they said, we're gonna have a veteran strike team repair, repair Payday 3. But, no, you're not, because everyone who is a veteran left the studio a long time ago. So who are you employing as this so-called veteran strike team? I think it's whatever, because obviously they can't say, well, we're gonna have our interns work on it because we don't have anyone else. It's whatever. Who cares? Payday Girl Contest is kind of based because, well, first off, I didn't even know it was a contest. I only know this from the clip of the guy saying, I am modeling a giant penis. And I think that's kind of funny. The whole thing itself was supposedly a contest where you can get yourself into the Payday the Heist, but only if you're a woman, because they needed models. Which I think is cool, but it's in kind of based because of the I am modeling a giant penis line. Payday 3 always online for cross saves. Oof. I mean, what can you say about it? It's self-explanatory. I just think it's cringe. I don't think it's peak starbreeze because I think they had a good idea and why they wanted it. It was just poorly thought out, like everything else starbreeze does, because nobody is buying Payday 3 on their fucking Steam account and then being like, I want to keep playing on my Xbox, and then they're gonna buy it on their Xbox too. No one fucking would ever do that, and so they made it always online for no reason, and this is the reason that the servers went down. Or I guess that's not really the reason the servers went down, but it was another edition, and it being always online means you can't play it in offline, you can't play without internet. It's all bad. It's terrible. I don't think it's peak Starbreeze. Ice Bucket Challenge. I mean, kind of based. It's just a clip of Almir getting dumped in ice. I'm sure they gave their $150 to ALS and then moved on with it. It was a trend back then. Whatever, who cares? PUBG collab is peak Starbreeze. Now that they've realized that nobody gives a fuck about Payday 3, and they desperately need to get players in, just like the jacket character pack, they went after a game with a new market. They went after PUBG. Their hope is to get, and my understanding is that it's only like Chinese players left playing PUBG. Yeah. They're desperate for players, and they sent some devs to work on PUBG, is my understanding as well. It's embarrassing. It's desperate. Yeesh. Do time, get time is nothing. Nothing at all. This was like a competition. Not a competition. It's like a raffle or something like that, where if you win the raffle, you get flown out to play Payday 3 early. Maybe I misremembered, but I feel like they sort of implied that a lot of people could win. In the end, it was one person that won, and it was just 3 partners, which is it's the safe pick, I guess, but it's just kind of stupid. And then the actual result of that was like, okay, one person played the game who was not a partner, and there was like a 2-minute highlight clip. It's just nothing. It genuinely nothing happened. Denuvo and Payday 3, cringe. They ended up taking it out, but Denuvo, again, it's similar to the Notoriety cease and desist, where they're like, we have to prevent piracy. We need so much money. This is so important. We have to block people from getting it. But the funny thing is that the game was fucking pirated before it even released, because the beta version was cracked, and then you could use that to access the full version. So the game was released before it even could. Hilariously, Denuvo would have probably prevented that. Yeah, it's cringe. Huge cringe. Muscle needs to be Deathwish viable. I really want to put this into peak starbreeze, but I think it's just very, very cringe. Uh, it's just another one of those funny little updates that show that whoever's working on the game has genuinely no idea what they're doing. Muscle was already a decent perk deck, and to buff it, I think is okay, because if you compare it to like Stoic, Hacker, Kingpin, Anarchist, Armorer, even Crew Chief, Muscle was worse than all of those. So it's fair to buff it, but the issue was they buffed it to the direct line was to make it Deathwish viable, which is just so embarrassing because it was one of the better decks for Deathwish. And then you have shit that exists like Gambler, which is so much worse. And they're like, I guess it's Deathwish viable. It's embarrassing. But I will say, it made Muscle a little bit more interesting to play because it had so much health at that point and so much healing. It was just kind of fun. Almir Mask Toy. I think it's kind of based, honestly. The thing that happened with this is that there was a toy that they made with Zag Toys, I think was the company. And I was there when this happened. Not in the factory making the toys, but one person, one of basically these toys existed. People knew they existed, but no one ever found any. And these toys came with like a mask code that you could use for Payday 3. Or Payday 2, not Payday 3. This was a while ago. I think this was 2021. And then in the trading subreddit, not subreddit, in the trading Discord, one Chinese person found boxes and boxes of these toys. And then they started selling them off in the trading and collecting server. And I mean, people grabbed them up. I didn't, because I didn't really care. I was only in the Discord for deals. There used to be deals there where they would have like, here's a hot deal that was posted recently. Pick it up if you can. And there were a couple that I bought. I think it's dead now. So now, like, people just talk there every now and then about something or other. Anyway, so this was huge news for the server. And this, since it came with a mask, people put on the mask and then they went into public games. And then this whole thing spread of like, what is this mask? How do people have it? And it used to be a mask that only Almir had, and I guess like mods and whatever. But it was like his mask. It's an Almir mask. But now people were flooding, not flooding public servers, I guess, but they were here and there, and there was a whole black market of these. And starbreeze acted, and I think they did the right thing of saying like, whoops, we fucked up. This was not really supposed to happen. We're going to give away thousands of these masks for free from our partners. I think it's like the one thing partners ever did for Payday 2. I think it was handled pretty well. Unfortunate for everyone who bought them before they were... Oh yeah, and the whole thing was like they were going to deactivate all the codes. Unfortunate for everyone who bought those masks before the big drops. I know Uncle, I think he paid €60 for it. Something like that, 60, maybe 90. It was expensive. And then after he bought it, they were given out for free. It feels kind of bad for him. But I think starbreeze did the right thing. Kind of based. Payday 3 microtransactions leak pre-launch. Before we knew anything about the game, we knew it was going to have microtransactions. We knew it was going to have battle passes. Or not battle passes, but like whatever, the fucking gold pass. We knew it was going to have DLCs. Oh, the fact that we had no information about the game, but what we did know was that starbreeze intended to milk everyone for everything is, I mean, it's beautiful. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just amazing. Fortnite creative map, I don't know what that is. Let's see. Payday Fortnite creative map. What is this? I'm seeing someone recreated a Payday map in Fortnite. Good for them. I don't really know what the fuck this is. We're just gonna put it over here with Payday 3 Fashion Collab because I don't really know what that is. Unready button, peak starbreeze. This was one of the big changes that was expected in Operation Red Bag, and I say big changes sarcastically, because the fact that the game released without an unready button is appalling. I had to look for a word because I did not know how else to describe it. It's a fascinating decision that they didn't think through. And they were like, we're going to add an unready button. And everyone's like, good, that's what we need. And then they dropped the unready button months after the game came out with fanfare. They were like, look, guys, an unready button. And the community made so much fucking fun of them because Starbreeze misunderstood the point completely. It wasn't, look, guys, we did an unready button. It took us months. The thing is, this was such a basic feature that they somehow didn't have and could not release for ages. And then when they came out with it, they dropped it like kings. Genuinely no fucking idea what they were doing. Crime War is meh. They wanted a mobile game. I guess milk more money. The game itself was fine. It used to be like a PvP thing, and then it turned into like a team heist thing. I like the PvP one more. I played every version of Crime War that came out. I think there was a beta of the competitive one, and then a couple months later, the official one came out, and then that one was shut down, and then like years after, they did the cooperative one. And now Crime War still sits dead because it was shut down. It was shut down like a couple months before Payday 3 came out. It didn't last long. It made no money, unsurprisingly, because it was just a worse version of Payday on literally any other fucking platform. But I think they wanted to try something. It failed. Whatever. I think that one's not that big of a deal. The copycat unlock, I don't remember the process, but what I do remember is that after people did unlock it, Starbreeze went back and relocked it because supposedly it was from an exploit. And everyone was just unhappy. I think it's on the lower end of cringe, to be honest, because you could unlock it again in like 2 weeks, and really, who gives a fuck about copycat? The copycat itself is cringe. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but in general it goes into cringe because they gave people this toy that they could play with, and they went, no, actually, you are not supposed to have this, and then they took it away. It's stupid. Breaking Payday 2 saves, it's kind of meh, to be honest. This has been happening fucking forever. Starbreeze can't do anything right, so it's not surprising that Payday 2 saves break. Like even on something as basic as joining someone through Steam from the loading screen would reset your save. It's whatever. Payday 3 Too Many Friends bug I think is kind of similar. It's certainly stupid that having too many friends makes the game unplayable. But I don't know how long it took to fix. I guess that's the issue, that they took too long to fix it. But that's sort of to be expected with Payday 3. Whatever. PlayStation Payday 3, I think, is not really a Starbreeze moment. Because what happened here was that instead of releasing Payday 3 on September 21st, they released the beta of Payday 3. And everyone on PlayStation was mad about it, and they didn't have access to the game they paid for a while. But my understanding is that was a Sony fuck-up, and not really a Starbreeze moment. This punch sunglasses is whatever. It's another one of their little catchphrases that they slapped onto everything. It's kind of meh, whatever. Who cares? Opera GX Twitter threads. Everything about this was cringe, to be honest. But the way that Opera GX and Starbreeze Payday Twitter guy fought, it was all stupid. But who cares? I think it just doesn't matter. Opera GX is kind of cringe by itself. The Payday Twitter is kind of cringe by itself. They're beefing. Who fucking cares? This is cut off, but it's the leech nerf, which I think it's just a beautiful thing. Like, muscle needs to be viable for Death Wish. I added this. You can notice by the fuck text. I added this because it's just another one of those things that shows us that the developers have absolutely no idea what they're talking about or what they're doing. Leech came out in a completely overpowered state, and to nerf it, they made it so that the 10 chunks you get, instead of each one being like any damage, having 200 plus damage would make it take 2 chunks. And that was an incompetent nerf because it changed nothing. They didn't understand why Leech was strong. They only understood, hey, Leech is strong. Let's fucking, I guess, take away 2 chunks. The issue was that you still had invincibility. You could still get all those chunks back. You could still heal. You could still self-revive. Genuinely incompetent. They had no idea what they were doing. They fucked it all up. And it's still in the game as a completely broken perk deck. Whatever. I want to make a new tier. What? New tier. Oh my god, I'm fucking this up. Come on, work with me here. I don't know. We'll add row below. Oh, come on, man. Why did it have to... I don't know. Not really a Starbreeze moment. TH. Okay. There we go. And that is my tier list of Starbreeze moments. Sponsored by Leif. Thank you for making it, because I certainly was too lazy.